Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, I should say now. As always, we're going to wait about 2 minutes to allow time for more people to join. As more people are attending, I'm going to launch a poll for you to respond with what is your astrological sign? I'm curious, out of everybody who's participating in the Agents to Influencers program, is there a common trend or common sign um, that exists amongst us? So while we're waiting for the others to hop on, let's see who is what sign or what sign we are. Looks like a lot of Leos. So so far, 3 Leos, 2 Geminis. Jane, you got to use the poll. Don't use the Q&A. Use the poll to respond. Yeah, I'll leave it up for like 30 more seconds. All right, looks like we're tied for Leo and Gemini. So that's interesting. We only have a couple of people from the program on the call, so I'm curious. Maybe we'll do this again next time and see if Geminis and Leos continue to reign supreme. Very interesting. Well, tomorrow does start Scorpio season, so happy Scorpio season to those who celebrate. All right, we're going to get into it because it's almost 12:03 and we have, I was just making sure we're recording. We have a couple of things to go over today, starting with the quality over quantity when it comes to the content that we're putting out there online. Now, on the last webinar 2 Mondays ago, we talked about scheduling content. So that's taking the content that's either provided to you, that you create in Canva, that you take from programs like Agent Icon, Leading RE, LPI, etc., and how you could schedule out using a content calendar. So now this is going to build on top of this because as we're all starting to become more familiar with Canva, more and more of us are starting to create our own content, which is great. We love that you're starting to get really involved in the Canva platform. And it's going to definitely be a big presence for us at Howard Hanna Coach and at Howard Hanna as a whole for the foreseeable future. I mean, it's a really great program that offers us a lot of capabilities. But once you have that creative freedom and those creative liberties, sometimes some of the posts that we are making can become really busy and very occupied and distracting. And it's not always looking like a quality type of post that we want to put out there to reflect who we are as real estate agents and who we are as individuals. So just because we can post a lot doesn't mean we always necessarily should. So that's why today's topic of conversation is going to be quality over quantity. Don't worry, not worrying so much about how much we're posting and how often, but instead switching gears and making sure that what we are putting out there is of quality. So I do have a quick presentation to go through, and then we're going to cover how you can utilize a platform like ChatGPT to help you with your content creation. So let's get into it. As a reminder, this is being recorded, so you will be able to access this afternoon on the CoachNet Academy. So I'm not going to be emailing out the link moving forward. You're going to have to log into CoachNet Academy in order to access any webinar recordings such as this. And if you do have questions during the webinar today, please use the Q&A button on the bottom of your Zoom screen, not the chat feature, Q&A feature to submit any questions that you have. Okay, so let's get into our second webinar in the Agents to Influencer series, and this is Quality Over Quantity, Crafting Strategic Social Media Posts. So today we're going to be talking about mastering the art of social media content and exploring why posting with intention matters more than the frequency, and how you can use strategy to boost your engagement. So by the end of this webinar today, you'll have a clearer understanding of what makes a great post and how to align it with your business goals. We're going to cover what defines a high quality post, why less is more on social media, and tips for you to maximize engagement. Okay, so what makes a good social media post? The visual quality. I think all of us as real estate agents, you might be familiar when you're looking at a listing on Stratus, and it can be very, very clear to see what was taken by a professional photographer versus what was taken with somebody's iPhone, right? We can clearly tell there's a difference in the visual quality of what's being shared. So when it comes to visual quality, it's the same thing for social media. We want to be using high resolution images or videos. That's going to reflect your professionalism. So when you're going on a listing presentation, you oftentimes talk about professional photography. Now, that's not to say you can't be using your iPhone to create content. Of course you can, but you're going to want to make sure that the content that you're taking from your iPhone or your Android, your cell phone in general, is going to be of high quality, high resolution. You're going to have good lighting. It's going to be proportionate. You're using the grid lines on your camera to make sure everything is centered. Just becoming more cognizant of ways that we can enhance the type of content that we're taking, even if it is on our phone. This is a very, very important one. Avoid excessive stickers, text overlays, and clutter that can distract or reduce the impact of what you're trying to share. So, with Instagram, for example, when you post an Instagram story, and if you're not sure what the difference is between an Instagram post and an Instagram story, we're going to have more tips on that in the future. But of course, you could always reach out to us at DMS for a little bit more clarity on what the difference is. But an Instagram story allows you the capability to share text, stickers, GIFs, which is those moving images, on top of the picture or the video that you're sharing to your Instagram story. What happens is sometimes we create these stories and we add a lot of these text or sticker overlays, then you could save it and post to your Instagram feed. That's not what we want to do. That's not the intention of posting to our feed. If Instagram wanted us to add text and sticker overlays to the post that we're sharing to our feed, they would give us that option when we're creating a post to go to our feed. So the text and sticker overlays, I know they're fun, they're funky. It's a fun way to get creative with what you're putting out there, but the intention is for those to be on stories solely, not what we're sharing to our Instagram feed. Our Instagram stories only last for 24 hours. Our Instagram feed lasts forever unless we choose to delete what we share. So the way I always describe it to agents is think of your feed as like the highlight reel. It's the pretty representation of you and your business. It's like your resume, and your stories are more of the behind the scenes. So that's when we can get funky and creative using the text and the stickers, but we don't want to be using that for our feed. You also want to make sure you're having consistency in your visuals. So you all have, well, hopefully, I shouldn't generalize like that. Hopefully, you all have gone through the personal branding program at the company and have gotten your custom agent logo. So per guidelines, your logos do have to fit within the Howard Hanna Coach branding. So you can't have like a pink logo and deter that far away from the company branding. But if you know that you like more of the wheatgrass color green, which is more like this color, the light green that we use in some of our marketing, you could have your logo be in that color and maybe like our dark gray. And then when you're sharing content online, you would want to create some consistent look or color scheme keeping that in mind. Same thing with fonts and just general aesthetic. If you like to use filters for your post, you're going to want to have filters that are your go-to that are similar. so that when you're sharing on your feed, you don't have one post that's like super dark and moody, and then the next post that's like very light and airy. You want to find what your aesthetic is and then build your content based on that. Okay, so what also makes a good social media post? Caption quality. You do want to keep your captions clear, concise, and relevant. 2 Sundays ago, I want to say, we did send out for the Agents to Influencers program. We sent out an email with tips for creating captions. So you definitely want to go back there and make sure you're referencing that. But it does keep these things in mind. So keeping captions clear, concise, and relevant to your audience. Using a call to action. So a call to action is can be something like the example here. What's your favorite feature in this home? Even contact me today to learn more is a call to action. It's just following a prompt, giving a follow up for the consumer, the audience that's reading this content to take an action to get in touch with you, respond to you, or engage with what you're sharing. So you could use hashtags as well. So we want to keep in mind to be strategic. You can have up to 30 hashtags in a singular Instagram post, but I've talked about this on previous webinars before. You want to make sure that they're not just like random hashtags. You want to keep it a mix of hyper local. So hashtag Long Island, hashtag Northport if you're in Northport. And then so more hyper local, and then a good mix of broad ones too. So like hashtag real estate is a very broad hashtag to use. The tip that we always give when it comes to hashtags is yes, you can have up to 30 in a post, and it is a good idea because it can help with your exposure, but you don't want to put all 30 like right within the caption. So you don't want to say like check out my new listing at 123 Main Street. It has an awesome pool and a great kitchen and I'm having an open house this weekend, and then just have 30 hashtags following that caption, because the hashtags, it's very overwhelming for the eyes. So some tips when it comes to hashtags is you can hit the enter button to create some distance between your captions and the hashtags, or you can even comment on your own post and paste in those hashtags. So, and if I'm going over anything today and you're like, what the heck is Shannon talking about? I have no idea how to do that or what that means. Please don't let the fear of not knowing something deter you from figuring it out. So make a little note and say, what the heck was Shannon talking about when she mentioned commenting on your post with hashtags? And then make sure you follow up with us after, because I don't want anybody to feel overwhelmed by a lack of knowledge. I don't expect everybody to know everything that I'm referencing, but I just want to make sure that what we're going over today has a little bit something for everybody, if that makes sense. Okay. So finally, what also makes a good social media post is an engagement, a focus on engagement. So you want to create posts that are going to start a conversation or invite interaction. So an example of this is what was shared on the previous screen for the call to action. What's your favorite feature of this home? This is prompting engagement. Now, the tricky part is sometimes we do this, we'll create a caption and we'll put something engaging in it, like what's your favorite feature of this home? And no one will respond. And then we feel discouraged. And then the next time we post, we don't want to do it because we're embarrassed that nobody's going to respond. That's okay if nobody does respond. When I ask a question, if I say a question out loud, or if I read a question, you're going to subconsciously answer it. So if I say, what's your favorite football team? You're going to answer it. If I say, what's your favorite color? You're going to think about your favorite color. You might not actually type that out. You might not actually physically engage, but you are starting to think about it. And yes, when we're posting these in our captions, it is with the goal that people will respond, because that's going to increase our engagement on our post. But even if they don't get discouraged, because the fact that they're thinking about it, now we're staying in their subconscious for a little bit longer than we otherwise would if we were to just post about a listing, for example, and not ask them what their favorite feature was. And the reason why I mention that is because you do want to stay top of mind for people. And in the year of 2024, when we're consuming so much content day in and day out, it can be hard to stand apart and to have people to remember you. So if you're asking a question in the caption, even if they don't actually physically respond, we're staying in their mind a little bit longer as they scroll. And that is a good goal as well. So when you're creating posts, think of something that is going to start a conversation. Instagram also has a new feature when it comes to posting that you can create a poll. I will say I've tried testing it out. It's a little funky, similar to this Agents to Influencers program. It's like a beta testing. They're seeing how it works out. So it's not always perfect, but I would try giving it a try to your post and seeing if you can start to get more engagement by people interacting with the poll in your caption rather than actually typing out a response. Okay, you can also share authentic moments to connect on a personal level. So this is really, I think, in my opinion, I think it's easy. It should be easy for you all, especially when you're working with clients and you close on it. It's so easy to be like, oh, just sold. So happy for my sellers. It was great working with so and so who represented the buyers, and like post that and call it a day. But you're working with actual people, and we don't want to overshare and we don't want to give away anybody's private information. But maybe when we are posting about a sale, rather than keeping it so transactional, you do humanize the post a little bit more by sharing a story that happened or something that happened along the way in the transaction that you were able to figure out and negotiate for your seller, or the buyers that you were working with, they have been looking for 2 years and they constantly were getting outbid, but then they used the buy and borrow bundle program, and then it led to them getting to the closing table. Starting to share a little bit more authentic moments within the boundaries of everybody's privacy, I think is a really good way to start to humanize you. I always say real estate is a relationship business, and it can be a very the transaction of buying or selling a house can be extremely emotional for people, and it can be a frightening transaction, quite honestly. So they want to work with somebody that they know is trustworthy, is loyal, it's going to guide them and help them make the right decisions. But sometimes when you're posting about your transactions and you keep it so business and formal, it's hard for them to see that individual human side of you. So sharing more authentic moments is a good way of them starting to understand and know who you are. You can also start to post, I mean, again, this has to be within the comforts of your own boundaries, but if you want to start sharing a little bit more about family, a little bit more about your personal life within reason, is again another good way to show who you are as a person rather than just as a real estate agent. Okay, so the importance of strategy over frequency. Overposting can fatigue your audience and make your page look chaotic. And we don't want that to happen. Like I said at the beginning of the call, your feed, your Instagram profile, your Facebook profile, etc., that's like your resume. So if somebody's looking you up and they're just seeing an overview of all of your recent posts, you don't want it to look too chaotic. You want it to seem a little bit more curated, professional, and true to who you are. So, we've talked extensively about using a content calendar, and that is going to be your best friend when it comes to creating and scheduling content. So I don't want to confuse anybody because I'm constantly telling you all to post consistently. And then here I am saying, don't overpost. And it's true, there is a fine line between overposting and posting consistently. That content calendar is going to help us post consistently, stay on track, but not overpost and fatigue our audience. So when you're creating your content calendar, make sure you're creating a good mix of property tours, testimonials, tips, community highlights, personal posts, etc. And think ahead. So part of this program, you do get a month at a glance content calendar that Jill creates for you. And there's going to be 3 to 4 posts every week. Now, these are just ideas for you. You don't have to follow it to a T if it doesn't align with your online persona, if you will. But it is supposed to be a helpful tool for you to stay more consistent. But that's not to say that that has to be the only 3 posts that you do every week. So maybe this week you see that on the content calendar, there's not a client testimonial, but you just received a really great one. Go into the icon dashboard to access the Canva template for testimonials, and you can create your graphic there. Um, Also, it's nice to use a content calendar because you can think ahead. So you could see, okay, there's a holiday coming up on this day. Let me make sure I schedule that content out now. And here's an example that of the content calendar that I like to use. So I do have it color coded, and I put in any holidays. This is a bad example because it's from August of last year when there were no holidays. But if there was a holiday, I would put it at the bottom. Um, so I know. And then I have it labeled. So the blue is Facebook, the purple is Instagram, green is Twitter, and then before I schedule it, I italicize the text, and that's how I know it's not scheduled yet. So this is just like at the beginning of the month, I'll look through and I'll say, okay, on this day, I want to post this. On this day, I want to post this. And I'll type it in, but I italicize it. And then once I go into Meta Business Suite to schedule it, is when I'll remove the italics on the text. And I know then that, okay, this is scheduled. This is going to go out on this day. You can get even more thorough. You can put in the time of the day that it's posting. There's some content calendars out there where you can even put in the captions that you're planning to use. And this way you have a general overview of every month with the picture and the caption. So you can get super detailed with it. If you are not a digital person, you don't have to use a digital calendar. You could use some agents even print out a month at a glance calendar at the beginning of every month and they handwrite it in. I don't care how you do it, just do it. Create a content calendar. I've been saying this for years. I've done so many webinars on creating a content calendar. It's going to be your friend and is going to help you develop that consistency without overposting. Okay, so let's get into some more tips and tricks for when it comes to the content that we are sharing online. So I keep saying it, consistency is better than volume. It's better to post 3 high quality times a week than 10 mediocre ones. Video does perform well. This is not a strange topic to anybody. Video is very important. So focusing on short and engaging videos can be very helpful to enhancing the engagement that you get on Instagram and Facebook. Keep images clean and text light. Too much text will lower engagement, especially on Instagram. So Instagram doesn't like when people post things with too much text on it. So you want to be mindful of that because you don't want Instagram to deprioritize your post. I've talked about this, use real stories and experiences, use native tools on platforms. So what this means is the polling on Instagram, for example, whether it's an Instagram story or like I mentioned, they just rolled out the polling on a caption on an Instagram post. Platforms like when you use their tools. So if you're going to start posting on Instagram more, for example, it's a good idea to use the polling feature, the quiz feature, anything like that, because Instagram likes when people use their features and the products that they create. So use the tools that are native to each platform. This is going to make Instagram happy because you're using the product that they created, but it's also going to help with engagement for your audience from your audience. So if they're interacting more with your post, Instagram is going to say, this post gets a lot of activity. This account gets a lot of activity. Let's start to prioritize it more and show it to more people. You'll get more exposure. You stay in people's minds more. So when they are ready to buy or sell a house, you are their go-to person. You can repurpose high performing content. So you can take a look. There's analytics for both Facebook and Instagram business pages. So you can look back and see, okay, I posted this top 3 reasons on why to sell or buy a house in the fall. And it did really, really well. I got 27 likes and 10 comments on it. Now, that's going to be a highly engaged post, so you could repurpose it Maybe now you post a video on the top three, you expand on the top three reasons to buy or sell a house in the fall, and you offer some tips on how to get a house ready. And you keep expanding on it. So you can go back and take a look at what's performing well and try to find ways to recycle it or repurpose it. I like to call that type of content evergreen. So it's relevant all the time too. So, so it's a little bit trickier when it comes to sales because it's a little bit more timely, but things like top three reasons to buy or sell, or how to get your house ready to sell in the fall, those are like evergreen content that you could share every year so you can keep repurposing them. And then finally, engage with your audience. So if you're going to be asking the question, what's your favorite feature of the home? And somebody is taking the time to respond to you and they say, I love the fireplace in the den, make sure you're responding to them. They're taking the time to respond to you and leave a comment. You should respond back to them to keep that engagement going. So don't just ghost them, don't post and disappear. Make sure you have to be a social media manager. You have to stay on top of the activity that's happening within your accounts. You can't, I hate the term set it and forget it because I don't want you to forget it. You have to manage your business. You manage all other aspects of your business. This is another component of it. And staying on top of comments and private messages that you're getting is really important to stay active. Also with that, I don't have it as a tip on here, but we've talked about this in other webinars, and I think it's important to readdress here. Make sure you're engaging with other profiles. So don't just post and then close out of Instagram and, call it a day. You want to make sure that you're interacting with others as well. So you're going through your liking post, you're commenting, you're following people, you're watching stories, you're interacting with polls. That's another way to show Instagram that you are using their product, and that's going to make them like you more. But it's also a good way for you to get in front of people's faces in addition to just posting online. Okay, so I was going to show examples of effective and ineffective posts, but I didn't. I was scrolling through Instagram before and I was trying to find examples from, random accounts, but I didn't want to be rude. So I instead went the text-based route for my examples. So a good post example is going to be a clear, bright property photo with a brief caption, such as "This home is all about natural light. Would you pick this as your dream living room?" And a poor post example is a blurry image that's overloaded with stickers and all it says is "New listing, come check it out." So I think even just from the text descriptions, you can see why the good post example might prompt more response than just a blurry image that you took on your iPhone very haphazardly when you went to the house. You added a bunch of stickers on it from stories and then you posted it with a simple caption. It's not going to be quite as engaging or visually appealing. Okay, so key takeaways. We're not quite done with the presentation yet. So I'm going to come back for questions because I do want to get into ChatGPT a little bit. But takeaways from this particular PowerPoint presentation is quality over quantity. So be intentional with your post. You do have Canva templates available to you. So you have ones that are exclusive to this Agents to Influencers program, as well as general ones for sales, new listings, testimonials, etc. So those are all available on the Icon dashboard. And use a content calendar to stay organized because consistency will build engagement over time. So switching gears slightly, I want to talk about ChatGPT because this is a resource that is available right now for free. There is a free version and a paid version, but the free version is plenty suitable for anybody on this call. And it's a really great resource for you to start to enhance your business. So I've been talking a lot about ChatGPT with many people, especially over the last couple of weeks, in particular our leadership team. And I think that there can sometimes be fear when we hear about AI, artificial intelligence. We're worried that robots are going to take over the world. And I get it. I saw iRobot as a child, and I have that fear that one day I'm going to have a robot take over my house. But at the same time, we do have to stay relevant and stay current. And the reality is with a program like ChatGPT, it can actually help your business tremendously. And there are ways that you could use it that I bet you're not even thinking of. So, for example, I've talked about this in some offices before, but if you're ever sitting down and you're like, I need to send a thank you card, I want to start, mailing more thank you cards to my sphere, but I never know what to say. Use ChatGPT to help you write a note card. Now, is it going to be perfect? No. You're still going to need to do some editing. You're going to need to do tweaking to make it sound more authentic to you. But it's a really great way for you to get a general overview, or at least a head start in what you can say in that thank you card. You could also do it for letters. For example, your buyer really, really, really wants to live in this particular area of this particular town. There's no houses for sale. So you want to do a mailing to those homes to say you have a qualified buyer. If they're thinking about selling anytime soon, contact you. Put that prompt into ChatGPT and it'll write the letter for you. And then you just need to paste it in a Word document and print it out and mail it. Super simple. But with the topic of today being quality over quantity when it comes to content, if you're not sure where to get started when it comes to creating content, if you want to level up your social media game a little bit more and you just don't know where to start, you can put that as a prompt here into ChatGPT. So, for example, and bear with me as I type this out. Um, okay. So my prompt was, I'm a real estate agent on Long Island. I want to create a social media content calendar for my business that shares a mix of real estate, life on Long Island, my love for my cat, the beach, and yoga. Make a 30-day content calendar for me. And look, it just starts writing. Day one, day two, it tells you what to post and then gives you a caption idea. Now, again, are these going to be perfect? No. Are they always going to be authentic to you? No. Are you going to have to do some editing? Yes. But it's a really great way for you to start to brainstorm and get some ideas of what you can and should be sharing online. And I just love, I mean, these captions are very simple. So sometimes I prompt it back and I say, I really like this caption about um blah 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 real estate tip. Can you expand on it? And it will. And then I'll say, it'll come back with a caption and I'll be like, remove the line about XYZ, and it'll remove it and rewrite it for me. So when I was at a conference a couple months ago, there was a presentation about ChatGPT and AI, and the general consensus was that it's not going to go anywhere. These platforms are just going to get bigger and become more common and more utilized. The best thing that you can do is learn how to create the prompts to get the results that you need in a more quick and efficient timeline. So over time, these platforms will start to know your language, your speech, what you're looking for in a post, and it's going to get smarter, and it's going to be able to create content that's more relevant to you. But it's all about learning how to prompt it to get the results that you need. I also like to use this um, sometimes you could use this if you're doing any cold calling. You could say, I'm cold calling. I don't know if anybody is doing much of cold calling anymore, but I'm doing some cold calling. Write me a script, and it can write you a script for what to say if somebody does answer the phone, and a script to what to say to leave on the voicemail. I mean, there's just so much that you can be doing with this. You can even say, like, AI is kind of becoming like the new Google too in a way because um you can just put in the prompt that you're looking for, and then rather than doing the research for on Google to find your answer, it's giving it to you in a much more clear and concise way. So I just wanted to put this in front of all of your faces because I've been in offices talking about ChatGPT, and it's definitely becoming more of a forefront of conversation. So I wanted to make sure that you all, especially that you're part of this Agents to Influencers program, you know about this tool and you're utilizing it. Like I said, there is a free version. All you have to do is go to, I forget the exact, I think it's just openai.com. Yeah. So all you have to do is go to openai.com, and you will be prompted to create a profile. And then OpenAI is the one who owns ChatGPT. You will have to create a profile. A tip here is that in your settings on ChatGPT, so it's on the top right, it says customize ChatGPT. And you could customize it, give it custom instructions. So it says, what would you like ChatGPT to know about you to provide better responses? And it even gives you thought starters. So where are you based? What do you do for work? What are your hobbies or interests? And then how would you like ChatGPT to respond? How formal or casual should you be? How long or short should responses be? How do you want to be addressed? Should ChatGPT have opinions or remain neutral? So this is also going to help the platform better understand you so that the content that it creates for you or the responses that it generates is more catered to you, rather than just like a general overview. Okay, so I did see quite a number of questions come through. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Kelly. I appreciate that. Where do we access ChatGPT? Okay, and then a question came in about a Canva template. So before I go there, does anybody have any questions specifically about what I covered today when it comes to creating quality over quantity content and or using ChatGPT to enhance your business? Okay, I'm going to wait a second to see if anything comes through. And I'm just going to also show you all where to find. Okay. So hopefully you're all aware by now of where we have the Agents to Influencers resources for you all. But I will do a quick show. So it's of course on the CoachNet. It's on the icon dashboard. You do have to scroll all the way towards the bottom. If you are in the basic program, you will see Agents to Influencers basic program here, and there is an agreement that we ask you to sign, the October content calendar, and then some Canva content. And then if you're in the premium program, same things. And then you just have access to a couple more of the Canva templates. Now, the question that came through was specifically about the market report Canva template. So this is not for everybody. This is only for premium members. But to answer the question that came in, how do we put the content in? You will need to open the Canva template, and then you would just double click on the text to change out the market statistics, and you would pull the market statistics yourself through Stratus or whatever platform you use to look at market reports, and then double click on the text to input manually the market report information for your area. If you have questions, make sure you email dms@coachrealtors.com for further assistance with that. Okay, so this is where the Agents to Influencers program information is. And then also, I did mention at the beginning of the call that this is being recorded, and you are all able to access the recordings. They will be posted within 24 hours. So if you don't see it right away, it doesn't mean you don't have to email me. It will be uploaded within 24 hours of when the webinar ends, if not much sooner. So it's under education. This does bring you to CoachNet Academy, where we have a ton of resources for you all. And you could either scroll through the pages here, or you could just simply click on the filter icon on the top right of CoachNet Academy. And then under categories, I'm not sure why we have two, it should only be one, Agents to Influencers. So you could filter here and you'll see this is you would oh, sorry, I'm confusing myself. So you click on agents to influencers in the filter section in the category, and you'll see agents to influencers here. So you click on this again, and then our recordings will be added here. So the first one from 2 weeks ago was scheduling content. So you could access that here. And then after today's webinar, you'll also see quality over quantity. So you could access that webinar recording here. So education, use the filter icon to search to filter by agents to influencers, and then all of our recordings will be added here as different modules. So again, reminder, I'm not emailing out recordings anymore. Um, I am just going to be putting them on the icon dashboard. I mean, not on the icon dashboard. Oh no, on the CoachNet Academy. How do AI images work as far as resolution? So ChatGPT, just so you all know, is just text-based. It's not image-based right now. There are other AI platforms out there for images. There's an AI platform out there to create a PowerPoint for you. There's one for videos. And the resolutions are good. It depends on the platform that you're using. I would definitely just use a Google search to determine the best one. Okay, I don't see any other questions that came through. So we're going to wrap it up here. I do want to try to keep these webinars moving forward to 45 minutes. So I want to thank Jill and Kelly. They are on the call as panelists, but they are here in the background. I don't know if you guys want to turn your cameras on, but I just wanted to give a big thank you to them for they've both been putting in a ton of hard work to keep the DMS department running strong, and to bring this program to all of you and make it effective. And I hope that you all are finding the program of value. Like I said, if you do have any questions or concerns, make sure you're emailing us, and then we will have another webinar in 2 weeks. Stay tuned for information on that. So thank you all. Have a wonderful day, and I will chat with you all soon.